Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is JD, and I'm back with another sneaker performance review courtesy of sneakershoebox.com. Today's sneaker is going to be the Jordan brand Melo M8. It's a very good looking shoe. I really enjoy playing ball in it, and this is actually Carmelo Anthony's 8th signature model with Jordan brand. So there's a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So, for those of you who have seen my performance reviews before, you know I always start them out the same way, and that is with the bottom of the shoe, and this will be no exception. So, as you can see here, back in the heel, you have a full-on traditional herringbone pattern. And then moving up towards the forefoot rather, you have kind of an alternating herringbone, kind of textured pattern, herringbone textured pattern. So for the most part, I can say that the herringbone did exactly what you would have expected it to do. It is very good herringbone, and it provided amazing traction from front to back and from side to side. I was very happy with it. I was concerned initially when I first saw the shoe when it came to these two areas here, these textured patterns. And I can honestly say that these texture sections held up just as well, if not better than the actual herringbone. They did everything I needed them to do from front to back or side to side perspective. I was very happy with it. On a perfectly clean court, it held up perfectly. It did exactly what I needed it to do, and on a dusty court, it even performed pretty darn well. Out of dust, so it didn't even really need to be wiped off that much. Quick wipe once every game or so, or hit the traction pad, and I was good to go. So I'm very happy with it. Even your quick point guards, even though this area right here is right where you'd be rolling around screens or changing directions really quickly, it did everything you would need it to do as a guard. So I was very happy with it. So moving on up, let's talk a little bit about the cushioning of the shoe. In my personal opinion, the cushioning of this shoe is actually where this shoe actually shines. This is by far the greatest attribute of this shoe, the cushioning. And it's by far the greatest attribute of this shoe, the cushioning. And it's really weird because it's actually a dual cushioning setup. Back here in the heel, you have a max airbag, and it goes all the way around. And then up front, you notice on this side you don't see anything, but over here you have giant 10 millimeter zoom bags up front. I was very wary of that when I first saw this. First off, because this is a huge zoom bag. Second off, because it's a combo unit with zoom in the forefoot, and then your max air in the heel. There have been several other shoes that have had setups like this. Some were successful, some were not. To just throw out some examples, your LeBron 8 postseason, your LeBron 9, your Flyweight 1. And for the most part, they were all a form of zoom in the forefoot and max air in the heel. And this cushioning setup, I feel, outperformed every single one of them by leaps and bounds. This is probably the most comfortable shoe that I've ever played ball in. And I'm talking more comfortable than LeBron 8. A lot more comfortable than LeBron 8. And let me go ahead and break it down a little bit so maybe you can understand why. So like I said, you've got a 10 millimeter, that's monster huge, 10 millimeter zoom bag in the forefoot, and it's only exposed on this side. And it's caged by this TPU kind of cage right here, and it actually does serve two purposes that I will get to in a second. And then back here in the heel, you have a pretty standard max air bag. Okay, the max airbag back here is actually very soft. It's a lot softer than than most of the other max airbags that I've ever played in. So that in conjunction with this foam, the foam that they used in this shoe is very soft and very plush. It provides a very comfortable ride. So when you combine max air with this soft foam, it gave you a very soft ride in the heel. And then you look at this zoom you got in the front here, and it is caged over here. So since it is caged by this TPU housing right here, it does prevent it from sinking in too much and making it too soft up here. That's the first thing that it does for you. The second thing that it does for you is if you have to come to a stop really quickly, this in your midfoot does compress a little bit right there, but this cage prevents it from compressing too much and hopefully can prevent a rollover and, you know, potentially spraining an ankle or something like that. So that's why I really enjoyed this cushioning setup. On this side in the forefoot, it's just straight up foam, so it is very soft, very plush. And for whatever reason, since it's not very harsh back here, it's not like your standard max airbag where it's just really firm, just for straight up impact absorption. It's actually kind of soft, and you combine that with this foam that they got here, it provides one of the best heel to toe transitions that I've ever felt in a performance-based sneaker. So it's very smooth, very comfortable, very light and airy from heel to toe. You get that initial, as soon as you put your foot into the shoe, level of comfort that you would expect from, like I said, the LeBron 8. So I was very happy with the cushioning, and by far that is the best thing that this shoe has going for it. So moving on up, let's talk a little bit about the materials that you have here. So you got a kind of 3-layer system right here. So first layer that you have is this really thick, very thick and very strong patent leather on the toe box here, and it wraps all the way around the shoe. Okay, this is really thick and very strong, very sturdy patent leather. There's scratches and nicks and cuts all over this guy, but they don't really show too well. It just goes to show how durable this shoe actually is. And then just above that, in certain areas, you do have this nubuck right here, and it comes all the way up on this side. And then on this side, you have actually flywire material right here. Okay, so as far as the support, most of the support is provided by the actual materials here, but you also have this TPU shank plate right here, which is pretty much set in place to provide you some outward stability and keep, you know, the foot from moving in this direction. You don't get a whole lot of movement this way, but you do get some flexibility going in this direction. So when you do need to push off, it does give you a little bit of freedom of a range of motion, but when you come to a stop, it does kind of keep your foot restricted so you don't end up rolling your ankle over this way. So I think it did a great job as far as the support is concerned, but there is also a very big weakness in this shoe. Just like I said, the cushioning was the strong point. The weak point in this shoe had to be ventilation. Ventilation was horrible in this shoe. If you look completely around, there are no perforations anywhere in this shoe. And there was definitely places they could have put them. They could have put some perforations here on this fly wire, and it still would have been completely strong enough to, you know, provide some support, but they chose not to. There's no perforations anywhere. The only ventilation that you get is through this mesh tongue. That's it. That's all you get. So over time, all of this right here, as you can see, it's permanently dented in right here just because that's just the way it was tied up. This is going to deform a lot, okay? When the heat and the moisture gets trapped inside here, all the materials up here where this fly wire and where this nubuck over here is, it's going to get really, really soft, and it's not going to be able to maintain its shape. And if it can't maintain its shape, it's going to be very hard to get the level of support that you got when you first got the shoe, okay? So that is pretty much the biggest downside. As far as the fit is concerned, all my people out there with wide feet, I feel your pain, so I can be your official spokesperson and give you the grade A seal of approval for all the wide foot people out there, because this shoe is great for wide feet people, okay? If you've got wide feet, especially up here in the toe box area, this shoe should probably be at the top of your list, okay? I had absolutely no problems when it came to the width of this shoe. As far as the length, it does run a little bit big lengthwise, but when I sized down, I wasn't real happy with the way it fit, so I did stick with my true size, which is a size 11. If you have wide feet, I would say stick with your true size. If you have narrow feet, I would strongly urge you to go a half a size down just so you can kind of combat that extra dead room that you're going to have here in the forefoot, because there is going to be some dead room in the front of the shoe if you have narrow feet. But for all my wide foot people out there, you're going to love this shoe. It is so comfortable and the ride is amazing, and you're just going to love it. Just trust me on that. Other than that, let's talk about lockdown a little bit. They do have this little kind of heel tab thing back here. The lockdown was just okay, I'd say. I would have really liked to have seen the heel notches back here that you saw on the Flyway 2 and some other shoes out there. But the lockdown was just average, I'd say. There are 2 separate holes up here at the top of the shoe. Okay, the front hole didn't work out for me when it came to lockdown. I elected to go back to this back one. But the thing that I'm going to show you now is, let's assume that my foot was in here nice and sturdy, and I'm tying this shoe up. Okay, look at all this extra room. Okay, these shoes have some really, really long shoelaces. So if one were felt, like they wanted to, you could actually go through this front hole and then lace it back around and go through this back hole too. I actually tried it that way, but I didn't like the way it felt up here on my ankle, and my foot kept falling asleep. So I didn't like that feeling of pins and needles when I'm playing ball, so I had to nix that idea. But I would recommend going with this back hole if you wanted some good lockdown. If you wanted maximum lockdown, just go through both of these and you'll be fine. So overall, I would say this is a very good shoe. I would strongly recommend this shoe to anybody. It's got you covered from a 1 through a 5. So in summary, I'm very happy with this shoe. As I said, anybody can wear this shoe. Everybody from a point guard to a center can wear this shoe. If you're a big man, it's got enough cushioning here to keep you satisfied, to give you all the support that you need when you're playing back to the basket. If you're a 1 or a 2, it does have good enough traction to hang with you. I'm very happy with the traction in this shoe. If you're kind of a slasher, a 2 or a 3, this has got you covered as well, because the shoe is designed for Carmelo Anthony. And Carmelo Anthony, his natural position is a 4, but he's a quicker 4, and he could even play the 3 or the 2 if they needed him to in that system. Whatever system they're going to be running next year, whoever's going to be coaching them next year, they got one of the most versatile players in the league. So Jordan Brand stepped up and gave them a very versatile shoe that can work for anybody from the 1 to the 5. Another good thing about this shoe is it's cheap. Okay, I got this shoe for like $80. It's on sale. If you look for one of the older colorways, you can always find them for the cheap. So I strongly recommend this shoe, Jordan Brand Melo M8. I like this shoe a lot. This is going to be one of my go-to shoes for future reference. So, as always, like, comment, subscribe. If you really enjoy what I'm doing, give me a big thumbs up, or go ahead and even favorite this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you'll be automatically notified anytime I drop another performance review or come back with another video of any kind. So, as always, check out sneakershoebox.com. Follow them on Twitter at SneakersShoebox. Check out the fan page over on Facebook. You could follow me on Twitter at nuke_mechanic and chop it up with me. I'll follow you back, and we can just keep the sneakerhead conversation moving. As always, I'll holler at you guys later. Peace.